He screamed, "We were happy when you were fat. Can't you just put the weight back on?" We all know that there's possible risks, complications, and side effects from having the bariatric surgery, but did you ever consider that one of those risks might be a higher than average rate of relationship breakups? Phrases like bariatric divorce, bariatric breakup, sleeve split. Surgery is just one tool. It's time to put the other tools in the toolbox because it's your body, your health, your life. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how relationships change as we change after surgery. We'll talk about why that is, how to improve, and then at the end, I'm going to provide 10 signs to let you know if it's time to end the relationship. In a sec, I'm going to talk about why relationships change. But before I do that, I want to ask you, if you've already had the surgery, has a relationship changed for you? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't had the surgery yet, is this something you worry about? And why do you worry about it? There are a lot of scary statistics out there. I've seen ranges regarding bariatric divorces and breakups ranging anywhere from 40 to 85%. That's a huge range. A research study published in March 2018 in a publication called JAMA Surgery, and I'll leave a link to the article and the research study in the description box. But what they stated is that people who had weight loss surgery are more prone to starting a new relationship, maybe separating from their partners, getting divorced, compared to individuals who did not have the weight loss surgery. Apparently, they found that the greater the weight loss, the higher the probability of having a relationship status change. And before you get super nervous, they also stated in the conclusion that bariatric surgery does not necessarily lead to a dysfunctional relationship. The problem is, unlike other big life transitions like losing a job or starting a new job or possibly losing a loved one or moving across country, many people don't recognize as bariatric surgery, extreme weight loss, as being another life-changing event, a big transition. Bariatric surgery magnifies the pros and cons in our relationships. So why do relationships change? Some of the reasons might be that they're just scared for you. They don't know what to know. They're scared that something might happen to you, the risks and the complications. Everyone has heard all the horror stories. So some of the reasons the relationship might start to change is because they're just scared for you. Other reasons are they're not ready for change. You changing, if you're close to someone and you're changing, that kind of forces them to look at themselves and that they might have to change. And some people just aren't ready. Some of the people in our lives just cannot visualize the new version of us. And as I've said before, we can't even visualize the new version of us. So to expect someone else to might be a reason why the relationship starts to change. I hate to say it, but some people in our lives just don't trust us yet. How many times have we tried this before? How many promises have we made to our loved ones, our friends, our family members? We said, this is it. This is going to be it. They just maybe don't trust us. So that's kind of part of why a relationship changes. For some of us, when we were at our bigger selves, we were maybe the people pleasers. Maybe we were willing to put up with things that maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we just lacked the self-respect and just allowed people to walk all over us. Maybe we were involved in codependent relationships. People kind of liked the fact that we needed them to get through life, to be needy and to have them validate ourselves as we went through life. Some of us, we were so focused on ignoring and avoiding how unhealthy we were, and we didn't want to address it yet, that we were willing to stay with people that weren't great people. For some people, the old you were their coping mechanism. For some of us, we just have to be really honest that the relationship before surgery was already unhappy. There might have been abuse, conflict, just unrealistic expectations, living in a world where we just kind of allowed things to happen with certain people. And remember, after bariatric surgery, we, as the warriors going through the weight loss, is that things just end up being different. And the relationship just really automatically and suddenly gets out of sync. You didn't really have a conversation about the relationship with food, socializing situations, activity levels, um, and those things no longer can be shared at the same level that they were before the surgery. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. There's many other relationships that get impacted as well. Let's go through some of those now. One of the biggest relationship changes is with ourselves. For some of us, this is not a big thing, but for some of us, it can lead to an identity crisis. There was old familiar ways that we were pretty used to that we have to let go of. So that can kind of trigger things in us, and our relationship with ourselves evolves and changes as well. But the reality is, and at the end of the day, such a huge personal transformation at such a profound level is going to force us to reassess ourselves and our relationship with others. Relationships with children, especially if they're younger, they might be a little nervous and scared of what's happening. They may not understand fully what you've chose to do. And then also food, rules around food, rules about eating, changes. These are all things that our relationship with our children might be impacted. Our relationships with our own siblings might change. These are people that most likely can see themselves in you and you can see yourself in them. Sometimes the people that are closest to you, we seem to hurt the most or we struggle with the most. Our relationship with our parents, they typically, you are the center of their world. Being the center of their world, sometimes they're a little bit maybe too close. So a non-emotional assessment of your situation and bariatric surgery can totally throw them for a loop. So that's something to think about your relationship changes with your parents. Relationships with work colleagues. That all depends on your situation and how close you are with your work colleagues. But for some of them, they might admire you, and some of them might become what we call a frenemy. Relationships with old friends might change as you have to kind of adjust to a new way of socializing with them. Relationships with new people, new acquaintances, strangers. Do you tell them about the surgery? And kind of one of the biggest things that impact like developing new relationships is for a lot of us is kind of as we lose the weight is our skin, the saggy skin, and that can impact a relationship, a new relationship. Sometimes our relationship with our bariatric team changes as we kind of get through successfully through the healing stage. Kind of one of two things usually happens. Either we think, oh, we got this and we don't really have to check in anymore, and we kind of change and don't really follow through with them, or we become super dependent on them and all we do is this okay, is this okay, is this okay? So just kind of being ready for our relationship with our medical team might change as well. So usually for most of us, the biggest relationship that kind of gets impacted is with our significant other. This is the person that has seen you through other things and now they're really seeing the changes, the good, bad, and the ugly. Ask yourself, are these people in our lives that we're kind of having relationship issues with, are they fully educated about your situation and your surgery? I know for me, I was very lucky. My husband was super supportive. But we had a good conversation about it because I knew that the stats were out there. And what he decided to do on his own, and I'm super appreciative of, is that he decided to get educated about it. He came to some of the initial appointments. He watched the videos. He joined and asked people that he knew that were in the weight loss surgery kind of community the questions. And he was always there to kind of go through things with me. So you need to ask yourself, the people that are closest to you that you are feeling that a relationship might be impacted is, are they educated about the surgery? Do they really understand your situation and your bigger why? Do they really get why you're choosing to do this? Was I hiding behind my weight before surgery? How important is this relationship to me? Can this person really support me through the long haul of this journey? Am I ready, really ready to eliminate toxic relationships and situations from my life? Do I fully understand that I cannot change anyone else except for myself. So, what are some things we can do? If you haven't had surgery yet, don't wait until surgery to start valuing who you are and respecting who you are. We need to recognize that this journey is always going to be up and down. It's always going to be changing. So you have to be willing to learn about yourself. And you also might have to consider forgiving yourself for any mistreatment that you've done to yourself and others. Maybe step into their shoes and try to understand through their eyes, why are they scared? Why are they having issues with your new you or the bariatric surgery? Maybe just step into their shoes and see, look through their lens and kind of get an idea of like, why is this happening for them? My big motto is always ask for support, never ask for permission. It's really important that you're specific with people on how to support you. No one is a mind reader. When you're working on building that trust with people because, they've heard all the things from us before, they've seen us go through it before, it might be worth focusing on the tool, the surgery tool, than actually the cure, that everything magically is going to be better. Surround yourself with people who are healthy physically and mentally. Realize that the only validation that you can get is from yourself. Encourage the loved ones in your life, your friends, whoever you want to sustain and maintain a really healthy relationship with. Encourage them to join their own support groups. It might be worth asking for help. Get counseling or therapy. Now, this might be with the other person, or it might be alone, or a combination of both. Remember, don't confuse chemistry with compatibility. Compatibility typically brings the best out of both of you. Before we go on to the signs that maybe let us know it's time to let that person go, hit the like button if you feel like you've gotten value so far in the video. Sometimes we just want to know, is it time to let a relationship go? The following are some signs to consider about maybe it's time to let that unsupportive relationship go. Now, before we go on, you have to decide right now. You either have to address these, really seriously address these signs, or you have to decide to let them go. Think about the thoughts you're having about this relationship. Are you second guessing? Are you questioning it? Are you asking others for opinions? Are you seeking for validation outside of the relationship? Have you become super clingy or insecure? Kind of that desperate, always have to be with them. Now we know no matter what, if that behavior starts to become part of our everyday behavior, that relationship is going to end anyways. You just don't feel like yourself anymore. You act a little bit differently with this person. You might be walking on eggshells. You overanalyze everything you talk about. You adjust in certain situations who or what you say. You're afraid, or maybe you question if you should speak up or answer a question. And you just kind of feel like you always have to keep the peace. Number 4, you question how to, what, and how much to communicate with them. You just spend more time fighting, debating, arguing than you really do talking. Number 6, you question the status of the relationship with this person. You don't know where you stand. You really start to back off, and you're finding yourself, you're avoiding them more and more. And maybe even the things that you thought were cute or enduring at the beginning are now really triggering you and frustrating you. 8, you are questioning, do you share the same values and convictions? You're not sure anymore. You just feel like you can't be yourself. And number 10 is that you're happy to grow and develop and move forward, but this person really is not interested in their own personal development in any way. The deal breaker or the game changer is if someone is crossing your boundaries, be it your personal boundaries or your safety boundaries, you are 100% in your right to walk away or ask them very specifically and clearly, are you willing to do the real work in making the changes in our relationship? And if they say no, then they are actively choosing to hurt and disrespect you. You can walk away. So let's remember, not all relationships end after bariatric surgery. Some relationships just get super strong. I want to tell you a little story about George and Kathy. George and Kathy were married for many, many years. Kathy did have a weight issue, a pretty big weight issue. And George had to do many things for Kathy. George had to help Kathy wash, he took care of the house, he had to do all the shopping, he had to take Kathy to all the doctor's appointments. And this was something he was willing to do. It was for better or for worse. But what happened is slowly but surely, George became Kathy's caretaker more than Kathy's partner. And he was exhausted. George proudly said, "After Kathy's surgery, I feel like weight has been lifted from myself as well, like a burden has been lifted off my shoulders. I feel more like myself. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not anxious. I'm not scared. And as Kathy gets better, I'm getting better. And I look so forward to our new relationship on our new path of health." Remember, we teach people how to treat us. I also want to develop a relationship with you. So please let me know in the comments, are there any other topics that you would like me to do a video on? And if you got value, you felt like you could resonate with the information today, please give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Have a great day. You got this. Take care of you so you can take care of others.